Whether you're a seasoned Hollywood veteran or a casual observer on the outside looking in, you're more than likely aware that the latest trend in Tinseltown is the major merger, two massive companies banding together or buying one another out to become an even more massive conglomerate. We've seen it happen multiple times over the years in various industries. I mean, recently, you can remember going back to the AOL buying Time Warner, Exxon buying Mobil, but these things seem to be accelerating in recent years, with two major ones coming to mind just in the last 3 years. AT&T purchasing Time Warner and Disney purchasing 21st Century Fox. In this week's edition of ScreenStudy, we'll be taking a look at both of these mergers, their effects on entertainment and pop culture, and the arguments for both sides, pro and con, when the competition for your attention gets a little bit smaller. But first, let's start with a history of both of these deals, and we'll talk a little bit about why they're different. The AT&T Time Warner deal was finalized in October of 2016, with the telecommunications titan paying $87 billion in cash and stock for Time Warner and its subsidiaries, which of course includes HBO, TNT, TBS, Warner Brothers, the sports outlet Bleacher Report, and a 10% share in Hulu. AT&T is also taking on Time Warner's debt, which is somewhere in the range of $21 billion, bringing the total value of the deal to $108 billion in cash and stock. The deal then had to clear federal antitrust oversight procedures, leaving it in limbo for a year and a half as the government very stringently prosecuted an antitrust case against the merger. Finally, this June, a federal judge ruled that the deal can proceed, but the government is reportedly considering an appeal. The Disney-Fox merger is one that's been in the news almost non-stop since it first emerged, so the odds are you already know a lot about it, but we're going to run it down briefly anyways. In August of 2017, Disney CEO Bob Iger and Fox CEO Rupert Murdoch first began talking about a potential merger between the two companies, as Fox eyed downsizing to focus on news and sports. That November, news broke that Disney had been working on an acquisition, of course behind the scenes for months now, and we were off to the races. In December, Fox and Disney announced that they had agreed on a deal worth $67 billion to acquire Fox's entertainment division. After a months-long bidding war between the House of Mouse and Comcast, Disney and Fox finally agreed to a final price of $71 billion in June, which shareholders approved just last month. In the deal, Disney is going to acquire, first and foremost, the 20th Century Fox film studio. They'll also gain the rights to Fox's television production wings, as well as channels like FX, National Geographic, Star, and Sky overseas, and a 30% stake in Hulu to add to the 30% stake they already own. Both of these mergers will have major effects on the entertainment landscape, without a doubt. I mean, on the one hand, AT&T and Time Warner probably will have a huge impact on both Warner Brothers film and television, as well as how content is streamed for a huge chunk of consumers, but a lot of the more specific consequences and ramifications aren't fully known yet. It's very possible that business is just going to continue more or less as usual for both companies, with Time Warner operating just about the same way, just now reporting to a new overseer. Remember, these aren't two companies in the same industry, but rather companies in two separate industries that are different parts of the supply chain, which is why this is known as a vertical merger. A big part of why AT&T wanted Time Warner assets was to add more content to make their communication services more enticing to potential subscribers. Disney's acquisition of Fox is interesting in that we know very specific aspects of the entertainment industry that will be affected, because the two are competitors in the same industry, which is why that's known as a horizontal merger, and it's usually a lot harder for horizontal mergers to happen. First and foremost, to put it simply and forget about all of the other things that Walt Disney Company and 21st Century Fox do, one of the big six film studios is acquiring another one of the big six film studios. That in and of itself is huge news. 20th Century Fox will either become a subsidiary of Disney, or it's going to be absorbed entirely, and a studio open for more than 83 years is going to close its doors for good. That doesn't mean that the franchises and characters that it spawned are gone for good, though. Many of them are going to live on in some way, shape, or form at Disney, like the Alien and Predator films, the Planet of the Apes and Avatar series, and of course the X-Men and the Fantastic Four will finally join most of the rest of Marvel's properties in the MCU. But beyond movies, the move is going to have a massive impact on the streaming world too. As I mentioned before, Disney now is the majority shareholder of Hulu, with 60% of the stock, with Comcast owning another 30% and AT&T owning the last 10%. Disney's still planning on launching their own streaming service, but acquiring Hulu adds an interesting wrinkle to that plan, because now Disney says their new platform is going to be geared towards all ages content for families, while Hulu is going to be their base for more adult-oriented content. But the question at the heart of deals like these remains, is it a good thing? Proponents of the deals cite several factors, chiefly that Disney and AT&T are going to be able to serve consumers better and more directly with the content and infrastructure they're getting from Fox and Time Warner. On the Disney deal specifically, fans of the Marvel characters that Fox owns are also overjoyed at the return of those characters to Disney, who historically have had more success with superhero franchises on the big screen. But opponents of the deals point out a couple of key things. Firstly, this makes Disney the unchallenged leader of the pack in the entertainment world, the king of an ever-shrinking sandbox of movie studios, and that means less competition and choice for consumers, which isn't an unfair criticism when you consider that Fox and Disney films last year combined for a total of more than half of all dollars spent at movie theaters. We'll just have to wait and see how it all shakes out, but let me know what side of the debate you come down on in the comments section down below. That's going to do it for me here, though. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and consider turning on your notifications to be alerted every time we upload a new video. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.